Well, that didn't exactly end the way we wanted it to, but I think going into the third, it didn't look very good, and we decided to make a hockey game out of it. Joining me tonight to recap tonight's game, maybe go through some trade proposals and all that fun stuff, is my guest Neil Garritty, who's also going to be on my team for Heavy Hockey Showdown. Hey, Neil.
I'm great. How are you?
Well, I thought it was going to be not so good after starting the first. We looked good.
Yeah.
We looked good on the shot clock, but it just didn't seem like things were going our way. So glad they made a hockey game out of it, got a point, kind of at least didn't fall back kind of in the race here, and they clawed in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the end, it was actually a pretty exciting game in the end. And they got a point, which, obviously you should be getting to. But Detroit's not the worst team. Detroit's not Chicago or San Jose. They're better than that.
Yeah.
And they've got a decent goalie there for sure.
Yeah, Huso is not a bad goalie. They didn't seem to have too much trouble with them though when they were in the attacking zone. I mean, he still had a fair amount of saves, but they were getting to him.
For sure.
Yeah.
I just when I'm comparing his game to Campbell's game tonight, which is probably a bad comparison, but that's a low bar. But I think the Huso did make some big saves, and the goals they were good goals. Whereas Campbell, a couple of those, and they weren't pretty.
Yeah, it just wasn't. Especially the one from the wall there, almost on the goal line, just little soft backhand towards the net. I mean,
and it goes off of Broberg, but what did he think was going to happen there? Shouldn't he be thinking shot? So he should be hugging the post.
Yeah, hug your post.
He's hugging the post, that doesn't go in.
Yeah, hug your post. Don't give up anything, between you and the post, and got it. And it wasn't like it was a rocket, so you got time to adjust to.
Exactly. Yeah, I didn't like that one. The other one off of Broberg again, that was a little tougher. It was going wide. And I don't, I'm not a goalie. This is probably, something better for our goalie dude. But I feel like there's a lot of plays that come across the crease that Campbell could get a stick on or stick his foot out a little bit quicker. If he was a fraction of a second quicker on that one, it doesn't get to Broberg. He sticks his foot out and he blocks the puck.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's being pretty picky, but That one I wasn't. That one, if that was the only one that went in tonight, that'd be fine. It
Yeah,
was the other ones that weren't pretty.
yeah, just kind of some mold. But then he gave him a chance in the third.
Boy,
He locked it down, and in overtime there, I think we got victimized with Dry and Nurse and McDavid all extending shifts.
yeah.
And I think it really was evident in Draisaitl. Like Nurse, yeah, I mean Nurse tried to feed him, and it wasn't a great pass, but it was in the neighborhood,
It wasn't that bad.
and not a chance. Like he wasn't close. And the same thing, McDavid tried to give him another feed, and it wasn't that far away from him. And
Yeah, like this is like Draisaitl. Like you have the biggest paddle
yeah,
in the league. He's awesome at knocking pucks down. Knock that, like, get that pass.
yeah, it was a little bit hard to watch, honestly, because I felt like he was trying to like stay out there as long as
Yeah,
Darnell and Connor, and I just don't think he's got the same lung capacity as them, or maybe there is something nagging him a little bit, and
yeah.
just he couldn't do it.
I would have liked to seen like Nuge and McDavid with Nurse, just because they were clicking all game.
That I could that first goal of the game, that snapshot from Nuge, I could sit and watch that thing on
Oh
on
my god.
repeat all night. It was just a beautiful shot, and what a feed from Connor, just kind of no look behind the back and brings them and
So, like, we were talking offline before he came on. Like, why wouldn't Nuge shoot in the shootout when he has that shot? Like, look what he just did. Go down on the right side and do that again.
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and then McDavid goes and he kind of does the wait for him to make the first move, and then buries it right underneath the bar
yeah.
and in. And
What's the last shootout they were in? Whoever scored, I think McDavid didn't score, did he? Because it's the first time he scored this year. Whoever scored went down. I think it was Nuge. Like shot and scored.
yeah,
And then the next guy goes down and Deeks like shoot.
yeah,
Like,
Nuge made a little move, opened up the 5-hole and ripped it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the guy's shot is that's his weapon. McDavid can do whatever he wants.
It's funny, I saw Nuge win the accuracy shooting at kind of
Their skills thing.
their own skills, yeah.
Yeah.
And then McDavid one ups him at the All Star game, going 8 for 8.
Yeah.
I knew then Nuge had a dynamite wrist shot and snap shot. I mean, next level. He just doesn't use it enough.
I know. Didn't they say in the broadcast it was Messier, like he did the little leg kick and everything, coming down the right wing, like left hand shot, does that like the leg pump and fires it off the post and in. Like, man.
Okay, yeah, or Glenn
Yeah,
Henderson.
exactly.
Some stranger pipes up here on the chat. He says Leon's speed on the ice will be much more apparent when against Colorado on Sunday. When it comes to Draisaitl, he beat Taylor Hall in fastest skater at one of the skills competitions.
Yeah.
I don't know if Hall was hurt or not. That's back a ways, but Leon's not slow.
No, he's sneaky fast.
Yeah, and he's like a locomotive. I mean, when he gets up to speed, it's hard to slow.
Yeah.
He's just a powerful guy. He was trying to do his post up stuff tonight. I think he's a little bit handicapped with, Fogel tried hard tonight, but
doesn't he always?
There's not a lot of hands there, like or picking corners. He just fired.
I liked his game though. Like I like that he is shooting. Like don't try and do something with it. Shoot it.
I like the work ethic.
Yeah.
Get behind that.
Yeah. I didn't see a lot of defensive mistakes tonight. It was a weird game. I don't know. Like I couldn't. There wasn't some. It, I texted somebody earlier just saying it's. I don't usually blame a goalie for a loss, but like that one, like we could have won that game, and Campbell's save percentage could have started with a 7. That's not good.
Um, I don't necessarily think Campbell was bad. I just think it was like Broberg was kind of victimized for on a couple of plays, and I thought he showed me like Ryan Rishaug always talks about Bouchard not being able to recognize danger.
Yeah.
And Broberg is the polar opposite of that. I mean, when the guy gets burnt, he gets right back into the fight and usually ends a play. Like there was a play where one of the Detroit wingers knocked him off the puck, kind of sort of towards the corner, and was skating out to go to the net in the third period, and Broberg just caught him. And no, you don't like.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
And he got.
I thought Broberg actually had a great game, even though 2 went in off of him. Like the 2 went in off of him. He was in the right position. He was between their guy and our goalie and had their stick. That guy wasn't whoever was with whoever the Detroit guy wasn't going to score a goal there.
I think the one positive that Oiler fans can take from the last stretch of miserable games, I guess, since the All-Star break, is it seems like just before the All-Star break, Darnell Nurse has started to find his game.
For sure.
And he's rounding into form. I think it was in Ottawa, where Cece bad reads, bad pinches, and Nurse was defending 2-on-1s that game, I think 4 or 5 times by himself.
Yeah.
And each time I think he played it pretty well. He let the goalie handle the shooter. Yeah, he did his kind of patented slide on the ice, but he did it late in the play and they never got a pass across and they never scored. And it was like 4 or 5 2-on-1s, and that's way too many for one hockey game for one pairing. But he's coming around. He's starting to find his game, and that's good news for this team going down the stretch.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've always been a Nurse fan. He obviously had a rough start to the year, but you knew he was going to figure it out. He's ultra competitive. He is a student of the game and his own game, especially. I don't know if you've seen some of the interviews with him on like Spittin' Chicklets and stuff. It's pretty interesting how much time he spends analyzing his own game. And he's through his career, he's always gotten better.
Yeah.
Which is why he got paid this contract. He got 2 show me contracts in a row and he showed them. Like I would say that he outplayed his previous 2 contracts. And I'm not saying I would have signed him to 9.25, but I think if you look at all of the contracts and you add them up over the years, it's not going to be that bad of a deal.
I mean, if you're using Cale Makar as your comparable to Darnell Nurse, I think you're always going to be disappointed. But if you use Seth Jones and Werenski,
Matt Dumba, or
yeah, then I think it's an easier pill to swallow.
Yeah,
he's probably a $7 million defenseman and not a 9 or whatever. But if, like I say, compare him to Seth Jones, and all of a sudden it looks really good. I know Seth Jones was an all-star this year, but Chicago had to send somebody.
Wow. Yeah.
And I mean, I've been on a podcast with Amy Jones and Caleb Jones, so no disrespect, Seth, but I don't know. Nurse is definitely worth it when you're comparing it to Seth Jones's contract. That's the way I look.
Yeah, I've been in a few Twitter, I won't say battles, but conversations, let's say, about Nurse, and my question to everyone is like, can you name 31 defensemen that are better than Darnell Nurse? And of course you can name like maybe 5 or 6, but 31. So it comes down to like, what are we talking about when we say a number 1 defenseman? He's our number one defenseman.
Yeah, I think
Doesn't feel like Dale McCarr gets the most money, and then who's the second ranked one, and then they get less. Like that's not the way the league works.
I think on a really good team he's the 1B, but I don't know.
Yeah,
He he can, like, in that playoff series against Winnipeg. I mean, he played over 60 minutes in a playoff game. He's got a lung capacity and
oh,
athleticism for days, and I mean that game went into overtime. So you can't tell me he's just shit, because I don't buy it. You know, you
and honestly, I think that series, even though they didn't win, he was phenomenal in that series. And that probably went a long way to get him his contract that he has. He was pretty solid.
you can talk about like his icings and sometimes questionable passes which lead to the icings, or
Yeah,
or all of that. But you know what? A lot of times those icings are because forwards are camped out really deep and he doesn't really
yeah.
have an easy outlet pass.
He didn't hit the guy at the red line.
And I don't know about you, but I didn't mind it when Duncan Keith didn't have a play. He would just fire it the fuck out of the
Yeah.
end and
Like how many times did he ice it?
give yourself a chance to regroup.
Yeah,
It's better than sending a muffin across the ice trying to hit somebody and it getting picked off and going into the back of your net.
exactly. Exactly. Like so what? It's an icing. Win a face off. Do it again.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that was a big face-off loss actually for
oh,
Draisaitl,
bro.
and Larkin pulls it back, and then Campbell gets beat pretty much clean from, a little bit beyond the top of the circles. I that goal was probably the one that bothered me more than the muffin backhand. Honestly, he was
Yeah.
he wasn't even really close on that.
No. That's what I mean. Like, you gotta make a save. Like he makes that save, that's a save that you should make. We win the game. You know, it
Yeah,
we had to work harder to score our goals than they did.
yeah. I mean, what were the? I should have a look. I think we
A
doubled them.
million to 14 or something like
Yeah,
that.
I kind of think we doubled them in the shot total here.
Yeah, it was over 30.
I'll get it here. Shots on goal. So Huso made 45 saves to Jack Campbell's 23. So yeah,
Yeah, what's the save percentage?
got an 826 and Huso was a 911. So Campbell had to make 19 saves and Huso had to make 41.
In basically a tie game.
Yeah, he had to make double the amount of saves.
I was, you know what? If I was thinking they should have pulled him after the third goal, or I thought, should they pull him? I guess. But Skinner didn't actually stand on his head last game. He did in Montreal. You know,
No, I'm glad we got a point out of this, because I was thinking during the game this would be a shitty time for both goalies to go cold.
yeah. And to pull Campbell at that point is not good for his psyche. Probably, he stays in and he makes some great saves. Not totally redeemed himself, but a little bit for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I was not thrilled with his performance. I didn't hate it, but it was the negative
I guess
side for me.
when I was looking at it though, like some of those, like the Bouchard's gaff a couple games ago in the corner, shorthanded, lets their guy take the puck away from him, and they score shorthanded because he's doing what he does and taking too much time and doesn't realize that there's actually people on the other team that want to take the puck from you. And there's an obvious, like, you can point the finger at, okay, it was that guy's fault. But in this game, yeah, Draisaitl didn't win that face-off, but you're not going to win all the face-offs. So it was hard to point to like a bunch of mistakes that led to goals. It was weird that way. Most of our games, you can point them out pretty easily. And that's why I felt like a little bit more blame put on Campbell, I guess.
Yeah. Well, need a little bit better from him to really walk that kind of game. Good on the guys though for
Totally.
sticking to it. I thought Klim Kostin, drawing that penalty kind of turned the tide.
That was a weak call that he got too. Like he fell on the guy. And I guess you'd trip him, but I don't know.
And really, to me, I mean, him, Puliarvi, and Derek Ryan were, a handful, and the McDavid, Nuge.
Yeah, I thought all our lines were good. I thought actually the only one guy I didn't love was maybe Janmark. Like that when he was with Draisaitl and Kane, that was not looking good.
Yeah, and then they put Fogel out there. Fogel's getting chances, but he's just hammered it into.
Yeah.
and honestly, Kane doesn't look like he's fully back yet to me. He looks a little bit out of sync and just not firing on all cylinders yet.
It sounds dumb because of the way that Nuge and McDavid clicked tonight, but they might have been better off putting Kane with McDavid and having Nuge with Draisaitl. He's got more skill than Kane.
Kane's more power.
And Kane has played a lot with McDavid. Draisaitl hasn't really.
Kane's more power.
Yeah.
Just his angles, and he's just not quite getting to the spots and pucks as quickly as he normally does.
Yeah.
Just not quite there yet. It'll come.
Which is weird because he was skating the whole time.
Yeah.
It wasn't his it shouldn't be his endurance or his legs or anything. It's the quickness. It's reacting to things because the game is moving fast and you haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, it's different, practicing versus.
Totally.
He'll get there. It's just.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about that. Like this reminds me a little bit like if Holland doesn't do anything at the trade deadline, let's say, first of all, I think the fans will lose their minds. But I don't. First of all, like if we win the West, we go up against Boston probably. Do you go all in the year where you're going to face Boston? I don't know. And next year, Boston won't be Boston. But Colorado is weak this year. And like the West is not that strong, really. Like Dallas looks okay.
I kind of think Colorado where they need crunch time.
Yeah. But they're not going to have home ice advantage. I don't think. Where are they now?
They're fighting for a wild card spot.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of all over the place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
well, they're in third in the Central right now.
With who they can deploy, I don't think home is that big. They need to get healthy. That's and they probably honestly need to make a move at the deadline too.
Oh yeah.
Well, their decor is pretty much the same, but having backfill Kadri.
Yeah. They could probably get Kadri back.
Wouldn't that be something? Uyghur and Kadri gone. Yeah.
Man, I was telling you, like, some of the people that are on podcasts in Calgary, they're talking about it. Like Huberdeau, like a ghost of his former self. Like he had 115 points last year.
Well, look at Huberdeau on what happened.
That's what I said. Huberdeau.
Yeah.
115 points last year. Like there's no I don't know where he's at now. 50?
Thanks that much.
I don't know. I'll have to ask Dash.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah, they're gonna win the Pacific.
And honestly talking about, Sutter's lost the room. They just extended him. His new contract is apparently 3 years times maybe 5 million. Hasn't kicked in yet. Kicks in next year. He's maybe lost the room. Hugo, none of them look like they are happy playing there. It's kind of fun to watch, actually.
Not gonna lie, I don't mind it.
Yeah. And I think their owner is like he doesn't like trading away. Like he didn't want to trade Iginla. He didn't want to trade Gaudreau. So they end up just losing these guys for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, enough about those losers.
Oh.
That being said, they're right behind us in the second wild card spot right now.
Yeah. And
with 11 loser points.
Fuck the shootout, yeah. I think if that would have stayed in, probably would have not.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish they would do that. Go to like 10 minutes of 3-on-3. Why not? Like most of the games wouldn't last that long.
No, not with 3 on.
No. They'd probably go longer with the shootout.
Yeah. Too much open.
Yeah.
And then as it grows longer, then chance kind of mistake ratio ratchets up, and
you're in your like 8th minute and you throw Holloway out there who hasn't been out the whole time and he blasts by everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you use him? I mean, he's got wheels for days.
Yeah. He looked good tonight, actually. Sometimes when he's going across the blue line, I think it's McDavid. Like he skates like him sometimes. I have to do a double take.
I hate when I get Fogle confused.
Yeah, because of the 7.
Yeah. Some stranger says Vinny is making Nurse earn his different sides of the equation. I mean, Vinny's a right shot D and shot D. Doesn't hurt to have two big kind of meat physical guys back there.
I don't think anyone needs to make Nurse earn his position. Like I think he has enough drive in him.
Yeah.
Like I don't think well, first of all, I don't know who you would get a left-handed shot that would push Darnell Nurse that we could afford. So like that's a stupid kind of dumb thing to talk about because it's like a unicorn. But I don't think he really needs it. I think he holds himself to a pretty high standard.
I think he needs a partner that is not like a big risk taker, more of a stay at home, like Desharnais. If he had the foot speed to be a top pairing guy, that would be an ideal partner for Nurse.
But even if Desharnais was up there and you bail out a little bit sooner, if Nurse is pinching, you're between the blue line and the red line now. Yeah. You're not on the blue line.
Yeah.
You're anticipating and giving yourself a bit of a head start. Yeah. And the guy is so long and rangy, like Jesus. I know it's probably too early for that, but it wouldn't be the worst thing to try.
He's like a bigger version of Scott Niedermayer, the way he can go on a rush and come back.
Yeah. Scott Niedermayer.
Scott Niedermayer is going to cash on a few more chances.
Yeah. And I don't know if anyone skates like him other than like Paul Coffey.
No, Nurse can stay out there like.
I know, but just the style that's smooth, like like effortless.
Yeah, I mean that one shift in overtime where Dry was, out of gas, the icing and all that happened. I think Nurse was out there for about 2.5, 3 minutes.
Did you see he almost made a change? And it looked like and he bailed out of the change. And I was thank God, finally,
Yeah.
finally. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, how many bad changes have they made?
We don't need to give up a shit goal here because that guy's going
Exactly. Let's
off.
have a 2-1-0.
So Jason Gregor's kind of putting out today that there is a little bit of smoke to the Carlson talk, that the Oilers tendered some type of offer to San Jose. So it sounds like they're actually playing the game instead of just kind of spitballing here. Um, I don't know what the chances are, but I personally would be all over that acquisition. Even if you have
I'm
to,
all over that too. Like, compared to Chikrin.
even if you have to cut a little bit deep into your lineup to make it happen.
The one thing they can't do, in my opinion, I think it was Stauffer that was saying Barry and Bouchard. You can't do that. Like, you need one of those guys on your right side. You need 4 right-hand shot defensemen. Like, if honestly, if it's CC, Carlson, Bouchard, or sorry, CC, Carlson, and Desharnais
That's your
are now
right side.
only, like, your D are not better. No, they're not.
I don't know. I
Because I think Barry would probably have to go because of the money. But he's a better defender than Bouchard is this year for sure. Like, Bouchard may get there. I don't know.
I think you're probably onto something just from a straight like defending rush or cycle or whatever.
I think he's also better on the power play.
Yeah, but I think that gets taken away if you're bringing in Carlson.
Well, it absolutely does. So it's okay, but you can't get rid of both of them, is what I'm saying. It also, if you get rid of both of them, you can't go 11-7 anymore.
I think ideally, you don't get rid of both of them, but I think if push comes to shove and that's a deal breaker, I'd do it. I think I would run Bouchard, CC, and Desharnais. But here's something that nobody's saying.
Carlson gets hurt.
Here's something that nobody's saying. What I'll say is I think you take it one step further and you figure out what it takes to acquire Radko Gudas, and you run Carlson, Gudas, and Desharnais, and then you've got a lot of nasty and some puck movement. And with having Nurse and Carlson both, I mean, if you don't use them as a pairing, then you can have either one of those guys on the ice for pretty much the whole fucking game.
This is ice shot too, isn't he?
Yeah, Carlson logs a lot of minutes.
Yeah,
and so does Darnell. And I just think with their skating ability,
I would love to see those two together.
And honestly, if Gudas is another guy you have, and you're pairing him with Darnell, then you've got kind of a mean, nasty son of a bitch and another guy that can skate the puck.
I'm saying Carlson and Nurse together, though.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that, and they can play 30 minutes a night. And
yeah. And then, but you tell Darnell that you're more of a defender now.
Well, Carlson's a good, like, everybody talks about his skating, but he's got a real good outlet pass too. So
he's an elite passer.
Yeah,
he is. I mean, he's probably going to win the Norris this year. He may win the Norris and be playing for the Oilers.
That's hard to fathom that a potential Norris Trophy candidate
and he's in the conversation for the Hart too.
Can get traded. Well, Hunter doesn't win the Hart. We riot. We burn down Toronto.
Yeah, I think they should eliminate all that. Reporters should not be allowed to vote on any of that. They have like a committee that votes on it.
Yeah,
because it's stupid.
Professional hockey, right?
Yeah, like honestly, like Taylor Hall over Connor McDavid, really?
We are 37 minutes in, and some stranger loyal listener always tuning into the pods.
Usually arguing with me.
just a reminder, March 4th, we're doing the Heavy Hockey Showdown at Argyle Arena, Edmonton. And after that is all finished, have the after party at first round downtown to watch the Oilers play the Jets in Winnipeg the night before. The Oilers play the Jets at Rogers, and that whole weekend trying to raise some money for SACE, Center for Sexual, very important cause. Alberta is pretty high. Any money we can raise certainly help. Audio is flippy.
I'm good here, but
yeah. Okay. Microphone a little closer.
Did some stranger tell you that?
Yeah.
Maybe it's his hearing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't even know that guy.
trying to do a couple different things. Joe here, so interfering.
What about so if they don't? It is weird that this Carlson thing is heated up, and I don't know if that's just Ken Holland, trying to, make it look like he's trying, because it's obviously that's a hard trade to do. The other thing, I have heard that what if Carlson waives his no trade only to go to Edmonton? Or what if Edmonton is the only other team involved? Then, or the only other team inquiring about him? Do we have to give all that for them? Like, they want to dump that contract. That's an albatross that they would love to get rid of. And if no one does it, and this is the best time too, like trade deadline of a Norris Trophy year, it's not going to get better than this for them. They're not going to get more in the summer. And I just don't. I think Holland needs to play a little hardball there too. Like they don't. San Jose doesn't hold all the cards, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they want to move that contract, so they have to be willing to come to the table. I think it's going to be a high acquisition cost, and I think it should be, because he's a hell of a player, right? But to me,
is he scary at all? His injury history and
Carlson?
Yeah.
No, not now.
No,
not at all. No,
yeah.
I don't think you have I don't think you have a season like this, as a fluke if you're not healthy.
Yeah. No, I get that. I just worry about him getting injured again. That's all. His skills aren't going to go away. I argued this when we got Duncan Keith. The guy won 2 Norrises. You don't that comes with a certain level of skill that is above most other defensemen to win it 2 times. And you don't lose it. You lose your speed. But, lots of times you gain patience and intelligence, and, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about him getting injured.
Well, Mr. Neely, you can die playing chess. Roll the dice.
You shouldn't eat the chess pieces.
Probably shouldn't, no. Swing for the fence. Go get Erik Karlsson.
No, yeah. The other thing, I forget who said it. Might have been Gregor. You give up all that they're going to give up. You don't have a lot of trade chips for next year. So you're going for it, and it's great if you win the cup this year. Obviously, then you're a genius. But if you don't, next year, and you need to move some pieces next year, you don't have as much. It's you're going all in, and you think that Eric Carlson makes you better than Colorado, makes you better than Boston or Tampa Bay. And maybe it does. We've seen what can happen when you limp into the playoffs. You can go all the way, but do you remember the 10 years after that when we didn't win? It's a big risk.
That was, I think that whole thing was messed up. I mean,
it is, and it's a bad example, but it's a big risk.
The other thing with that whole year, I mean, different ownership, so different everything.
Yeah.
I think Daryl Cates would be fully behind trying to win a Stanley Cup.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And if it didn't work out, you spend the money to retool to do it all over again. I think he really wants to see a cup here, and it's not about trying to manage every single.
No.
And you know what, we wouldn't be in this spot even talking about Oilers hockey in Edmonton if it wasn't for some of the work older guys did. Edmonton Investors Group. So I'm not trying to make them look bad or whatever, but it's a totally different setup that way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, and I really like our management right now. I know people don't like Holland. I don't understand why. I think it's just, I don't know, it just comes with the job, I guess. Everyone's got to, the day after you start, it's fire Holland. Anyways, I don't understand that, but I actually like what he's doing. I like that he's building. I like that he values draft picks, and he understands that you need entry level contracts. If you're going to keep McDavid and Draisaitl, you need a lot of entry level contracts and guys that are performing well on them, because their next contracts are going to be probably 30 million combined. So whoever, like this year's first round pick that we have, that guy might be playing in 2 years. Maybe not, but we need cheap options in there. You need the Holloways and the Brobergs and the Bouchards, and
Yeah, I mean that's something that comes up too, is what happens in 2 years, but that's 2 years away. I think this team needs to push and try to contend for Stanley Cup now, and there's fake all in. You just kind of say stuff to appease people, but I think we all know that this team is close, but it does need some help. I don't know anybody that is honest with themselves if they think that we're there right now, because I think we're still a little bit further away than where we need to be.
Oh, for sure. And and I want Carlson. Don't get me wrong. I've wanted Darnell Nurse to have a partner that is like good. The CC was decent last year, but man, he fell off the shelf this year. And none of the other right shot D looked good with Nurse. And I don't think it's Nurse's fault.
Yeah.
Like, look at our right shot D. Like, they're not great defenders.
Oh. And I'm okay with bringing in somebody like Eric Carlson. I thought about it a lot. And if you do get a guy like that collects the puck, and he's going the other way, and he's going the other way in a hurry, whether he's rifling a pass up to the red line to hit McDavid in full stride, or he's skating it himself, he's going the other way, and so is the puck, and you're out of your end. So I'm not, oh, he can't defend. Well, I don't know if it's he can't defend. He's more of an offensive defenseman.
I'm not worried about that part of it at all.
Me neither.
Yeah, no, he absolutely he makes us better. He's top. I don't know, is he top 10 or is it top 8 in the league defenseman?
Oh, he's top 5.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna get somebody's gonna say some shit now.
How can he not be? I mean, he's probably gonna run away with the Norris. It's probably not even gonna be close.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Playing for the Oilers. Love a Norris Trophy winner.
There we go.
No, I'd love to see him there. I said you too earlier that I don't want them to trade Bouchard and Barry. I think we need to keep one of those guys, unless we have 4 left shot D that we're comfortable running. I'm not sure we do.
I don't think you go into the playoffs playing 11-7 for.
They did last year.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good recipe for us for a run. I think you might do it out of necessity because you got trust issues.
Yeah, it does. It does allow us to play, McDavid and Draisaitl more.
Which over the course of a long playoff haul, I'm not.
Yeah, have you noticed lately that like McDavid won't get as many shifts in the first period, and then he starts ramping it up in the second and third? I've just noticed it lately. It seems like they're trying to hold back his minutes in the first period.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of situational.
But then let's say we weren't running 11-7 now, and everyone is healthy. Like, who comes out? Desharnais? Robert?
Yeah, right now I don't think I want to mess with that, but
But that 11-7 allows you to run all those guys too.
Exactly, but if you go and make that big transaction, you've improved your D, and you don't.
I worry about trading Barry and Bouchard.
I know you do.
Yeah.
If that's your option, I don't let that be the hang up that transaction goes. I think the benefit is cost, even though it's a high cost.
What about like changing things in the room? Like, these guys are obviously all buddies. They obviously like Tyson Barrie. I don't know how much importance you put on that. Is Carlson a good guy in the room? I don't know.
I kind of under the impression and bias or something that Carlson's kind of a quiet guy. Yeah, I think there. I think room chemistry is something that you have to think about.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would override, the talent level that you're bringing in.
Yeah. And Barry doesn't. Well, although, Carlson isn't gonna. Who was it? Was it Rashog and Struddy that we're talking about? The difference between Carlson and Barry. Like, on the power play, what are you gonna? It's at what, 32%, 31%? We didn't get to 34. It might have been Mike Johnson that was talking about that on Rashog's thing. But it's the 5-on-5. Like, Carlson has more 5-on-5 points than McDavid does.
Yeah, it's unreal. I mean,
yeah,
he's a hell of a player, and if there's any way to make a transaction like that work, I mean, guys are commenting in the chats that San Jose has a lot of contracts and for them to take on contracts. So if there was a deal to be done there, it's probably not like what a lot of us are drawing up, getting rid of Puljujarvi, Fogle, Barry, Bouchard or whatever for Carlson and some picks too. So they'll take San Jose probably can't make that work, so you got to bring some back.
Maybe get Matt Benning back.
Yeah, there's talk of that, or Jason Greger's nephew, I think
But
it
yeah,
is, Noah
yeah.
Gregor, an Edmonton boy, or somebody,
Apparently the coach doesn't like him that much.
yeah, or yeah, I mean he was a healthy scratch for I don't know, like a week or
Yeah,
something like that down there. Um, you know, some league minimum guys just to bringing in a body so they're not over, what they can take on for contracts. But the biggest hurdle of the whole thing is making the money work out. And the other
yeah.
thing that, I'm not sure where it is, but I think if we're this far into the game, is would Eric Carlson waive to come to Edmonton? I think if we're still talking about this, at this time of the year, then maybe there was a discussion,
Wouldn't that be the first conversation you'd have if you're Mike Greer?
yeah,
Like before I go down a path, like, is he willing to move?
right.
Like, let's negotiate a deal here.
Yeah, or
Let's not waste everybody's time.
where are you willing to go?
Yeah,
And I mean, players can talk to players. So did McDavid and Draisaitl have a conversation with
they did.
Carlson at the All-Star game
They played together.
right, that we're not privy to, and is that where this kind of stemmed from? I don't know. It's All-Star game isn't that far removed, so maybe that there is something there.
Yeah, and if there's that, it's been said that Leon and Connor said they want a guy like Carlson, and like that sounds like a weird thing for them to say. I don't know where that came from. If maybe a reporter asked them, "Hey, would you like a guy like Carlson?" and they said, "Yeah," because like who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Fine, but it seems like a weird thing. Like I doubt that they're going to Holland and saying we want a guy like Carlson. That just seems. I mean, maybe they did, and if they did, then go and get Carlson. There's another reason. If they did, and I'm Ken Holland, I'd say you sign here, like you sign this that says you're going to sign some sort of extension if I go and get Carlson. But if I'm putting all the cards on the table, like the biggest thing I'm worried about losing is you guys. So
I just, what I think you have to swing now.
Oh, totally.
Like you can't bunt this year at the deadline. And to me, I listen to Stony Oil almost every day on Stoppers Oilers now, pleading for Chychrun. And he makes a decent case for it. But to me, that doesn't move the needle as far as landing Carlson would. So
and you're giving up almost the same amount.
Yeah, like, if it's 2 firsts plus to bring in Chychrun, I'm willing to part with that third to get Carlson because I think he's that much better.
Yeah, and I don't know if you would have to. And I don't know if it's necessarily picks, right? It could be, that could be Bouchard or, Puljujärvi. They are previous first round picks.
Yeah, I don't think Puljujärvi gains you much, but
no,
if you're throwing in Bouchard,
what if it's Holloway or
if you're putting Bouchard into the mix, then that's I'm crossing a first rounder off my list because it's really what you're giving up there. So
exactly, and I think actually, I think San Jose would probably recognize that. This guy's got he's got more AHL points than any defenseman ever. He's got some potential there.
Jeff's commenting kind of in the chats too about kind of potential 3-way trades, where you're getting another team involved. That part of this is the part that I don't think happens because
I don't think so either.
I question Ken Holland's ability to be sort of creative when it comes to doing 3-way deals, and I just don't see that happening that often in the NHL. It's on the regular in the NBA, but
I don't think it's like just Ken Holland by himself doing this either, though, right?
No.
And he's got capologists there. Yeah. He's got there's a team of people.
Yeah, at the end of
It's
the
not just Ken Holland like by himself with 2 phones,
at the end of the day, I just don't see that being like a thing.
moneyballing it.
Yeah, I don't see that as a thing that really happens, very
No,
often at all in the history of the NHL.
I think the trade just with San Jose is really difficult. Adding a third party makes it even more difficult. So if you're at like, let's say you're at 15 or 20% that it happens with just San Jose, I think that drops the percentage.
Yeah, like if it's a matter of getting San Jose to eat 35% of the Carlson's contract, and then you trade like a fourth rounder for some other team to eat
Yeah,
another 5% just to make
like
the money work.
Arizona.
That
Yeah,
might be within the realm of possibility, but I just don't think anything too much beyond that is going to be a reality.
no, no, it is a. You're right though. Like they must have talked to Carlson already. Like I keep reading that he may not waive his no move clause. Like why would they have all these conversations if Greer hasn't talked to him yet?
Yeah,
Yeah,
circling back to this, I mean, this what was it in December? This first came out, and circling back now in mid-February,
yeah.
I think there is a little bit of
Just after the All Star game.
yeah, I think there is a little bit of smoke to it all. Um, whether it pans out or not, I mean, I think we're a long ways from that, but it's definitely
Yeah.
interesting, and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I was kind of for trying to get Jacob Chikrin too, but this excites me a lot more. It's something that if you make that move, you are definitely swinging for the fences, and you're in the conversation. I don't think
Yeah.
it makes it a slam dunk that you're winning the cup, but you're definitely going to challenge.
The Chikrin thing I didn't understand as much. Like, so and this whole idea of trying to limit Darnell Nurse's numbers, which also is I don't know, somebody came up with that. And it was when he wasn't playing well, but now he's playing pretty good. And I don't know if you care as much right now about that because when they're limiting them, what are they knocking a minute off a night? And and the idea of adding Chikrin to take some of those minutes away, aren't you then also putting more minutes on Barry or Bouchard?
I don't think going after Jacob Chikrin is attack on Darnell Nurse's minutes. I think it's more play to give yourself a pretty strong left side.
Yeah,
Matt Kulak has regressed this season. I
yeah,
think that's fair to say.
he's been better lately.
Sure, but I think you're really solidifying your left side if you can acquire Chikrin.
Yeah,
Um, and then you've got Kulak, you've got Broberg. Um, your left side all of a sudden is better.
yeah. Oh, for sure.
Really, if
Yeah, he's not better than Nurse,
if you're
but he's better than everybody else on our left side.
yeah, if you're doing that, then you can take somebody off your right side, and it's not even a hiccup. Like, um,
Yeah,
honestly, the guy that really could deal, but I don't see it happening, that wouldn't offend me whatsoever is Cody Cece. I thought he had a great year last year, but this season I think we've got him in a position where he's over his head,
yeah,
and that's really the area is that top right shot D that
for sure.
improved. That isn't Jacob Chikrin. That's Eric Carlson.
No, but do you agree that we don't have that guy on our team either that is better than CC? Like because I always go back to like Woodcroft knows the team better than you and I do. He knows more about hockey than you and I do. He's with them every day. If like honestly, if Evan Bouchard was better than CC playing with Nurse, he would be playing with Nurse.
I guess I had another Freudian slip. I must have called him Matt Kulak instead of Brett.
Yeah, you did.
Matt Kulak's his cousin that was a little shifty SOB that would hit up your DMs asking for a little bit of money to get home.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
That's unfortunate.
He had a little bit of a He had a little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry, everybody. My apologies, Brett. um, is CC better than Bouchard and Barry? Sometimes,
Ending?
at times, but I don't know. I honestly, I think Barry's defended pretty well this season.
Well, I think he has too, but for whatever reason, he doesn't play great with Darnell Nurse.
I haven't seen Barry like get exposed for the 2-on-1s
No.
or get turnstiled at the blue line like the way used to happen. He's
Playing
positionally sound.
That's just like he's not. He plays smarter.
Oh.
He is better at distributing the puck on our power play than Bouchard. He just is. And if he wasn't, Bouchard would be there. That's the way it would be. And he is there a lot, but it's not the same. Like it doesn't. The puck's not moving around as fast. And I think last year when Draisaitl got hurt and Bouchard was getting more power play time because Draisaitl couldn't shoot. So that made sense. Now you've got a big shot out there.
Yeah.
So that made sense to me. But once he gets better, once Draisaitl's better, Draisaitl wants somebody that's going to fire him passes like Barry does.
Ripping me to shreds in the comments. Good old Matt Kulak. I deserve it. God, I write down Brett Kulak on closet doors that are behind my computer here, so I look at that all the time.
I blame his parents. Matt, Brett, that's too close. Like if you're yelling that to your kids, they're both gonna come running.
Yeah. Oh man. What else? I like that timeout Woodcroft used.
Yeah, me too.
Late there for that power play, and it ended up working.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't do it in Montreal when we had the 5-on-3. Like we were down 1 goal or 2 goals at that time? 2, I think. We ended up scoring one right after, right?
Yeah, after the power plays expired, they got
yeah, right. But like they had been out there for a minute or something. It's 5-on-3, and they went like 30 seconds without much happening, and a whistle happens like right there. We can get 2 goals here in a game where they didn't belong. They didn't deserve to be in that one.
Yeah.
That was a huge moment in that game, and we finished the game without using our timeout. I was yelling. I was in my car at the time. And I'm yelling like, "Call the timeout!"
You can't save them. Yeah. So it's after midnight. We've eclipsed the hour, and usually we want to try to stay somewhat steadfast to the hour. Appreciate you guys all for watching. I guess you were excited and couldn't sleep, and I guess I'm overtired calling Kulak Matt, but
you ruined it with the Matt thing.
Check out articles on heavyhockey.com. Jeff Aid, he Aid 780. He was watching tonight through YouTube. So thanks, Jeff. He just wrote an article on the Buffalo Sabres. Ryan Lotsberg's cranked out a few articles, some on the Erik Karlsson trade. Bruce McCurdy.
Did you just say Aaron Karlsson?
Eric. Eric.
Matt.
Yes. Brett. Lottie wrote an article on a potential Karlsson trade, what it might look like, and I think he wrote another one just prior, or maybe Eric wrote one about what a Karlsson trade might do for the team. Reason everybody's cranking out the articles. Sometimes it's hard to keep up. Bruce McCurdy put out an article on Philip Broberg, comparing him to another Swedish Oiler from the past in Oscar Klefbom. It's a good read.
From Stone.
It's a good read too. Thank Bruce for doing that. And, I was joking that I might put out an article about fuck the shootout. Just give us the overtime.
Yeah.
Those are all on heavyhockey.com. And once again, March 4th, the Heavy Hockey Showdown. Come out, come watch us. You can get your tickets on Eventbrite if you pay attention to Twitter from Oilers Live or myself or any Heavy Hockey crew that put out links to Eventbrite where you can get tickets and come to the after party at first round. Big silent auction with Draisaitl nurse jerseys, pictures, Nanaimo bars. There'll be all kinds of stuff going auction.
Bait sale.
Yeah. And come heckle me and Neil. I promise.
Yeah.
If I get an assist on my line or score a goal, it's going to be a Larax Selly into the boards crashing, and I'll probably fall down in the process. But it's going to be a good time.
I don't think I'm gonna have to worry about that.
New York Rangers on Friday night. What do you think is going to happen?
Who are we playing Friday night? Sorry.
York Rangers.
Oh yeah, they scare me now. Tarasenko. And we are not playing our best hockey right now, but maybe we play up to their level and we beat them. We've been known to do that too.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks everybody for watching. Like I say, check out heavyhockey.com. Where there's live podcasts. Yours truly here at Straight Off the Pipe. Dash is on hiatus. Seems to make Tuesday nights, but when I ask him, he's always too busy.
That's good for me.
I'm just bugging you, Dash. It's is what it is, bud. Take care of your family. Eric Friesen's putting out lots of content too with Forever 99, and I'm sure Kirk Morris, Paddle Down podcast, will be doing some more stuff. I should probably get Jeff 8 on here sometime to tell me about the Sabres and Rasmus Dahlin, how he's gonna take out our boy Eric Carlson for Morris.
Change this, Rasmus that,
yeah,
blah blah blah.
Yeah, and World Hockey Report. Cody, I think's been busy covering some lacrosse there. He covers the Saskatoon Rush, but sure he'll get some shows firing up soon. Thanks everybody for watching. Keep your sticks on the ice. And I promise I won't say Matt Kulak anymore tonight. Good night, everybody.